I'm ready.
Welcome, Dr. Rose.
Thank
Thank you.
you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I follow you for a long time, and I think what you have done and what you're doing is so inspiring, making a difference, for people.
Thank you very much. I recently retired and I during COVID I saw how you had such poor outcomes if people were metabolically unwell, and I went for my training as a primal health coach during that time in anticipation of retiring. So I'm enjoying myself doing this.
Yeah,
No.
you're very good at it too.
Thank
Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
yeah, I got because there's so many people, and I'm always in there, and I just the first time I went like, oh wow, this is very different. Your energy, how much you care, because it shows.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
Yeah,
you.
For
it
sure.
really shows.
But
Yeah, and
for everyone that's listening, before we get started and ask lots of questions, I'm going to quickly read Dr. Rose's bio so people know who she is and get a little bit of a feel for where she's coming from. So let's do that and then um, take it from there. So,
Okay.
our wonderful Dr. Rose Petrilla is a doctor of physical therapy, professional emerit emerita. Is that right?
Emerita,
Emerita. Thank
professor,
you. At,
Professor Emerita.
yeah, Professor Emerita at Penn State with extensive experience in healthcare, wellness, education, and metabolic health coaching. She's also a certified primal health coach and creator of the Primal Professor, a
mhm.
platform dedicated to helping individuals improve metabolic health and longevity through evidence-based low carbohydrate and lifestyle strategies. Dr. Petrilla combines her clinical expertise. I'm so sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing. Where's my glasses?
Look
Age.
at
There we
that.
go. Her clinical expertise with lived experience overcoming obesity. I'm very excited to hear about your journey with that. Pre-diabetics, high blood pressure, and fatty liver disease to guide others towards sustainable health and vitality. There we go. So this is our lovely Dr. Rose. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. When I first moved to the States, I noticed, I remember coming with my mom, and she said, because we lived so many countries, and she goes, wow, it's some very large people here. And
Yeah.
I noticed because I grew up with the homeopathic system. I grew up in the Peruvian Andes and the Amazon with nothing but the shaman work. But later on in Chile we had Hahnemann, which was it's a homeopathic, and I was like, how can people do homeopathics here? They consistently eating or drinking something,
Hmm.
and I don't know your take on that. I think is the fast pace. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
No, I do think, I mean, you think of our ancestors, and that's my primal training was kind of took me back when we didn't have modern medicine and all these chronic diseases didn't exist. So, there's something in our environment and our food and that I think is contributing to all of this. So I really, it really grounded me in my coaching to get people to sort of go back and think of food. It sounds cliche, but food is medicine.
Mhm.
Um, it really is. If we give our body what it needs, it can heal a lot on itself. And I I would say I was a healthy young woman, child growing up. But I always struggled with, I was never the skinny little girl. I was a shot putter, but I was muscular and strong. But I wasn't bony or skinny or anything. I was always say a nice stout Slovak. And but as I as I got married, but I always had to fight it. And growing up, we had like two sets of families. Our first husband died at 26, and my older brother and sister were only one and two. He had a brain tumor, and then she married later my dad, who was 8 years older than her, and my dad died. So we grew up really poor. We didn't have, she was amazing how she managed things, but remember Kool-Aid? We had Kool-Aid. We drank high C. We drank soda. We had good food, good meals, and everything. But I think it just really set us up to have problems later on.
Mhm.
And it really shined and reared its ugly head for me was during my first pregnancy. And I had two very high risk pregnancies, and um I thought I was doing the right thing by eating granola cereal for breakfast, and I became very hypertensive and had to deliver at only 28 weeks of pregnancy instead of 40
Mm.
because the environment, I was so hypertensive, there was no amniotic fluid in there. And my first son was born at 13 ounces. So, and
Oh.
lived for 6 months, but passed away. And I think if I have one message to anyone is get your health in order before a pregnancy. So that I feel like I could have avoided all that. And
Mm.
so thank God, I have a 30-year-old son, Colby. I had another high risk pregnancy, but got through it. And that was the start of it. And I remember someone said to me, you're going to as soon as I had the babies, the hypertension went away, but they said, you're going to probably be diabetic by 40 and have high blood pressure. They didn't tell me what to do about it. And then, like at 25, when I was married, I was a little even thinner than I am now and felt like I was in good health. But what was I going to say about that? Darn it. Oh, uh, I still, when I went for my first couple ultrasounds with the pregnancy, I wasn't overweight when I started the pregnancy, but I already had fatty liver in my 20s.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so and that's the other message to get out to everyone. It starts years before you get a diagnosis of diabetes and
Yeah.
hypertension. It's starting way before that. And we know now our children are getting diagnosed, teenagers, young kids with diabetes. So
Mm.
that's my goal with the channel is to educate people enough to understand what the real causes are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so crucial because you give him life extension to people, and
Mm,
also the connection. That's why Corey and I, we have all the certification, all that. But it's time. It's always been for me for service, and always want to leave something behind.
mm,
Contribution. And I see
mm,
that that's what you're doing. Yeah, yeah.
mm.
Because people don't know, and that, like you said, the food is life, and whatever we put in is what's making us.
Mm-hmm.
It needs certain things. And as a physical therapist, I would do home health sometimes. And I had a patient that I was in and out. She was in her 80s, and her husband was also in his 80s. And uh, she ended up passing away about 20 years before him. And I feature him in one of my videos, but he lived to be 101 and a half. And they didn't have children. So he asked me if I would he asked if he died, would I help Audie get into a good facility and make sure she was taken care of? I said, I have to check with my state board, because it was a professional relationship and I
Mm.
got cleared for that. And then she passed. And so he said, well, would you do that for me? And I said, sure. Well, he went on to live for 20 some years. He was 101.5 and he was so spry and his health span equaled his lifespan. And
Yeah.
I think we all want that. He declined maybe literally he was walking up until 2 days before he passed.
Oh.
And so I learned a lot of lessons from him and he was a hoot, but Uh, yeah, I mean, that's my goal is I have the one child, Colby, and I want to be able to take care of myself
Yeah.
Yeah.
up as much as I can until it's my time, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think everybody wants that though.
I think they do. I don't know if it's lack of knowledge or just keep going. And most of us, we know some things, but we put them aside for later. And we continually do things for others, you
Mhm.
know? And it's like, hello, what about here, right? It's like, if you, like, with your passion and your knowledge, can explain somehow this expands your life, how the telomeres work with some things here. It's so crucial for people to understand that it's a lot more going on than just the outside, because this is a universe, Dr. Rose.
That's a great way of putting it. And and what I don't like the changes that are going on in our healthcare system. It's more about take this medication because they assume that you're not going to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So if you're diabetic, you're instead of saying, let's work with you, let's teach you how to eat properly, uh, and understand why you got here, they just give meds.
Yeah.
They just give meds. And that is the difference. And recently, my physician retired, and he was one of the holdouts that didn't go into the big hospital systems and become part of it.
Mm,
So whenever I went in for just a cold, he spent 45 minutes with me anyway and checked everything out. And now, how long do we actually get
mm,
in the doctor's office?
Five
You know,
minutes,
yeah, 15
maybe.
minutes,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
And how do they properly check? Do they properly check your blood pressure after you just, hurried out of work and rushed to get there and then you sit down? Some of them don't take it properly. Some of them fake it. So when I was teaching my students, when they have to learn how to take blood pressure, and one of my students was 27, but she was a type 1 diabetic, and so she had it since she was a child and was on insulin. And she was starting to show signs of kidney issues, her gastrointestinal paresis, where from her elevated blood sugars, uh, her function that was slowing down and not working properly. So because her kidneys were getting worse, they sent her to the kidney specialist. And the person who took her blood pressure took it and she goes, "Oh, very good, 120 over 70." And my student, I was so proud of her in that moment. She advocated for herself. She goes, "I know my blood pressure isn't 120 over 70 because her kidneys weren't functioning and it was starting to raise her blood pressure." And then the lady took it again, whoever the person was, and got the right blood pressure and was much higher. Now, that physician would have made decisions
Mm.
based on
mm.
an error in blood pressure. So there, I won't go there, but I have a lot of concerns
Yeah,
about healthcare and
yeah.
and um, not a lot of time spent with really trying to reverse things or prevent things rather than just throw medicine at it.
Yeah, and numbing things down, but not really getting to the cause. I know that one. I am a survivor, and they gave me 10 to 15 days. I was lucky because they wouldn't treat me. And I ended up meeting that same day Dr. Misho Kushi, microbiotic. And I went to his institute.
Oh, where is that located?
It was in, he passed away in the East Coast. I forget right now. I think the wife continued with it, but he believed in. It's a lot of information on YouTube. He believes in turning the body alkaline because nothing
Mm,
really lives in alkalinity. So I was microbiotic. I turned microbiotic. I stayed there for 5 months.
Wow.
Louise Hay was there, and she made it too. Uh,
Is it similar to like the Gerson theory
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, yeah. They're
Very
kind of
similar
like the
tradition.
Gerson. The Gerson treated also. That's in San Diego. Yeah,
Yeah.
treated also with diet. These are pioneers that but it was a little more to it. It was a lot of emotional stuff combined, and so I like to combine all of it. The
The whole
emotional with
person.
all that because it makes like. And you teach classes because we would like to put all these links for your classes and take
Like I said,
class.
I'm retired now.
Ah,
So yeah, so I'm no longer I'm eternally a professor at Penn State. That's what the emeritus status is. That I'm always considered faculty, but I'm no longer. I was the head of the physical therapist assistant program and there for 32 years. But I mean, I will certainly share it on um
YouTube.
my channel, and if I can check with the other program coordinator if she can share it on. They have a Facebook page to program.
Mm.
So I'm happy to share your podcast. Yeah.
that would be lovely. Can you say a little bit about methylation? Because I love that.
Yeah. I think it can be very complicated, and I'm not a biochemist in any way,
Right.
but I think for your audience, what really by providing the necessary foundation, and that comes from food. It's choline, it's the B vitamins. By providing the right sources of food, then you have the structures, and a lot of it is protein too. It's the cysteine and glycine, and that will give the body the components it needs for proper methylation. And then methylation tells it's like we also then feeds into epigenetics, where you can either turn on the health of your genes or turn on the disease of your disease in your genes.
Mm.
So if you think about your own family, like on my mother's side, if they didn't smoke, they lived to be 100. On my father's side, he died at 52. There was only one out of seven kids that made it to their 60s, riddled with heart disease and diabetes. My brother, who is 3 years older than me, has low thyroid, has diabetes, has fatty liver disease, has all those things. And we were 3 years apart, and I said, I did do something drastic. I don't know if you want me to talk about this, but I had tried everything. So I thought, and I did have a lap band surgery, and
Mm.
that gave me time to figure things out.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
have since had it removed, but it did take 60 pounds off, but I still had insulin resistance. I just ate less.
Mm.
I didn't eat as much, but I still had insulin resistance, not severe,
Mm.
and some fatty liver. And so I knew that I had to do something. And I look at my brother now, who's on Ozempic, who's on metformin. Metformin, he was on cholesterol medicines. They just they took him off Ozempic and now put him on Jardiance because he maxed out on Ozempic,
Mm.
and he just refuses to change the
Yeah.
way he eats.
Mm.
So we're identical. We're not identical, but we're very much the same. I was going down the same path, and we just chose two different pathways.
Right.
And I'm off all medication. I don't have hypertension anymore. I don't have fatty liver disease anymore. Um, I feel wonderful. I have a very atherogenic mutation of LP little a. It's a lipoprotein that is normal is under 50, and mine's 297. And I do not have a speck of plaque in my heart. So I'm doing something right. I'm going with it. And my brother, who's been on cholesterol med since he's 20 is starting to have short-term memory issues. And he was just up over the holiday visiting my other brother, and um, I had a discussion with him about the different types of cholesterol medicine. I'm not saying don't take cholesterol medicine, depends on where you're at and what your history is, but he
Right.
uh he's taking the one that crosses the blood-brain barrier that can go into your brain. Your brain makes cholesterol because it has to have it.
Mm.
And if those medicines cross the blood-brain barrier, then you're not going to have as much cholesterol for your brain. And that's when you start seeing impairments.
Yep.
And so, why do they have everybody on Lipitor when there are newer statins? And just because he was on it doesn't mean he needed to stay on it. So, um, and we know now there's connections between some statins and diabetes. So, yeah.
Yes,
So it's
statins. They mess up the bones, destroy muscle. I mean, it's a lot to it. I have a friend, they gave it to him at 32.
My brother was 20.
Crazy.
It's
My dad
crazy.
was 52 and had had 5 heart attacks. Well, I mean, we have a family history. So we were talking about, we both made it past 52. I'm 60, he's 63. But and the what you mentioned about like Ozempic, listen, I had a lap band. I had tried the other medicines like Kissimmee, fen. I want to be totally transparent because I felt desperate. I know that feeling of desperation where your health is starting to decline. And when I built this house, I made a straight stairway because I thought for sure I was going to be diabetic with an amputation, and I treated all these people and I know how it developed. And you know, geez, I lost my train of thought again. What was I saying?
You were saying that you've tried all those
Oh,
things.
I
It's not,
yeah,
we're
I
not,
did.
yeah, this is just a conversation. This is not about judgment. Everybody has
Yeah,
their reasons and the things that they need
yeah,
to do,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. And with Ozempic, because I have another brother who takes it, but he does a ketogenic diet
Mm,
and is having fabulous results,
right.
Mm.
for him. And I have my sister, all my siblings are taking some form of that. And, um, it can be done well, but they lose a lot of muscle mass. And when you lose muscle mass, you're increasing your insulin resistance and metabolic, so you have to be careful. So,
Yeah.
but it's a
Yeah.
tool. It's a tool, and some people, my one brother does very well with that tool. It made a big difference for him.
Mm.
Yeah.
He reversed sleep apnea and a lot of other things.
Yeah. The keto diet, can that be done with, because people ask me that, with vegetarians, so it only has to be with meat eaters.
Well, you can do it. I'm not an expert on vegetarian diets, but you have to really work hard to get the protein in. And the problem with some getting plant-based protein, now I'm sure you could get like concentrated like
Mm,
pea protein. I know they have in like protein shakes. Um, you have to just make sure you get enough protein, and you need fat. So you either use carbohydrates or fat for
right.
energy. And the problem, I think, with a vegetarian is you have to eat a lot more food to get the
Okay.
same amount of protein.
Right.
And the other nuance to that is meat has leucine, and leucine is what tells your muscles to grow, to repair, and that you're not going to find a couple of the essential amino acids in plants. There are some that are just missing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, there are
Yeah.
people who are very successful on living a plant based diet.
Yeah.
There are some others who have had, from what I understand, I don't know anybody personally, but I've listened to some folks on YouTube who had some health issues. So you really have to do your research and
Yeah.
do it correctly.
Yeah, because I noticed plant-based, um, if you don't do your homework really well, they ended up eating mainly carbohydrate. And I've
Mhm.
seen that in my brother-in-law and other people. I've seen such a disbalanced diet on they, and not even good carbohydrate. Not really just refined grain and all these other things that with a lot of sugar. And that's the thing with keto, the balance with fat is so amazing to me with them.
It's ridiculous, like to think. I mean, if you would have told me 20 years ago I'd be eating this way, I would say you're crazy. And I mean, for this morning I had 3 eggs, 4 pieces of bacon, and a third to a half a cup of cottage cheese. I mean, that's almost 700 calories. I that for in one meal. I mean, I thought I could eat that much,
Yeah,
and I did in ways I didn't eat that much. But you know what's amazing? The big thing for me is that you're doing something right for whoever this is and whoever's listening to this when you feel satiated
right.
and you feel satisfied and you cannot be so you find yourself not being hungry for hours.
Yeah,
If
Mm,
you're turning around and an hour later you're hungry, then you're not getting enough nutrients.
mm,
yeah,
Be it protein, be it essential fatty fats and the vitamins in the fats. Um, but you can do keto, you can do dirty keto and it can do it wrong as well. There's a lot of people out there. I think when it first came out years ago, um, people were talking about dirty keto, doing a lot of prepare like the food you buy in a store, Dorito, the Doritos that are the keto things that tasted like Doritos, and you can they're processed too.
mm,
So
yeah.
I think
Very
if you
processed.
if you got rid of processed food and just went whole foods, I think, and got rid of seed oils, you are and straight out sugar, you did 50% of the work.
mm.
Yeah, and you said that you cannot rewind it time of your in your chronological. Yeah, yeah. That
So I got my lap band at the age of 40, let's see, 19, that would be around 44, 45, I think. And at that time, I lost 60 pounds with that. But my chronological age was in my 50s at that time. I was still hypertensive and I still had extra weight on. Had all those things, but recently I did that video and I plugged all my numbers in and it's now I'm 60 years old and it's at 48.
That's awesome.
So I'm off all my meds. Um, I do take one med. I want to be transparent because of that LP little a. It's something that absorbs the cholesterol from the gut, just as a precaution, but it's not a statin. So
yeah, yeah,
it's an old drug called Zetia or Zetamide,
Mm.
and it works at the intestinal level. So
So just
right. So that's where it comes from. That liposity
the you mean in how it gets in your blood or
for what you take in. Yeah,
oh yeah, it comes in, you eat it, and it's absorbed through the gut
mm,
into the bloodstream and then goes to the liver and throughout the body. Yeah,
it
has to be processed.
reduces. It
It
reduces.
reduces the amount that goes in.
Ah, okay.
And
Yeah.
so I had no side. It's an old drug. And by the way, the gentleman that I was helping, Norm, we'll just call him Norm, his secrets of 101 and a half. He had his first heart attack in his 50s. And he took that med, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't seem to kept him alive for 50 years. And
Mm.
so it's at least 50 years old because he had been taking it since he had his heart attack. So
Wow.
that I I was frustrated because whenever I would go to the doctor, I do normally have high cholesterol. And on keto, my cholesterol did go higher. But I think what I want your audience to hear is high cholesterol is not bad. High
Mm.
LDLs aren't bad. It's what kind of the size of your LDLs. And the real one to look at is your triglycerides. That tells a big story. So your good cholesterol, which is your HDLs, your triglyceride to your HDL ratio. If it's 1.5 or under, that's optimal. And two or less is good. When I started this, mine was 5/5,
Mm.
my that ratio. Now it's under one. And
That's,
yet my cholesterol's high,
mm.
but my triglycerides are low. My HDL, the good cholesterol, was 29 when I was overweight like that. It's now in the 70s.
Mm.
So you have to interpret what your body's telling you. They're all signals. Um, and triglycerides is the first signal, I think. When they start elevating, that means you're not um it's your insulin levels are high, and that's putting fat into your blood, and that's when it's dangerous, when flats a lot of the small types of LDL are floating around in your bloodstream. There's big fluffy ones that are good, the small dense ones are what's bad. So
Mm.
but yeah, but they locked onto one thought, into the theory, and that I think it's starting to change. That's the good news. I just heard the new uh, dietary guidelines came out. I didn't get a chance to look at them, but they're promoting whole foods.
Oh, good.
And yeah, yeah. So I think we're in the midst of the
Yeah.
beginning of a change.
I think so, and it's interesting you said that, Dr. Rose, because I'm in Cornell University for a couple of years now studying medical plants. And I did it to be able to see what was the system doing. And
Mm.
because I work so much with clients that I recommend things, I'm thinking, even though I have a PhD in nutrition, which is according to them nutrition,
Right.
you know what I mean? It wasn't really, yeah. And to be able to speak from a place that, has some research, because in the States people like to see the proof of things.
Correct.
I
Mhm.
grew up in countries where the curandera come give you a concoction of who knows what that don't, your hair stands up in the air, but you good. You
Yeah.
never questioned that person. But when I moved here, it was everything needed to be like fully, compartmental and whatever. And I noticed that more and more and more the researchers are they're doing a lot of plant medicine now. They're getting
Mhm.
really into it. I teach for the Chopra Center. And
Oh,
Deepak,
okay.
yeah, and Dr. Chopra, his brother is the dean of the health in Harvard University. So
Oh, wow.
him and because Dr. Chopra left because he said that the system was too corrupted and he didn't want to be part of it. My friend Bruce Lipton did the same. He don't want nothing to do with that one. And they are doing a lot of work with the mushrooms and
Hmm.
with herbs in St. John's Hospital with the head of the, for Alzheimer's and dementia and all that. And they having tremendous results. And I'm seeing more and more they're kind of tapping into the herbs and the plants and such.
Well, that's what I mean. If you read any historical novels or some movies will convey. I mean, one of the most powerful heart medicine was digitalis, which is from foxglove, right? And that's all they had when my dad was, 40 years ago when my dad was had heart disease.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of, and it's very interesting now. I don't know if, um, in the keto and then especially the carnivore world,
Mm,
there are some carnivores that feel as though it's the plants against the animals and their take on, like I would say more the hardcore carnivores are saying, and some to their point, some of it is true. Animals have different defense mechanisms, but plants have
right.
chemicals. And I was at a conference, and the one gentleman there was an archaeologist, and he said our ancestors had to figure out how to extract the nutrients from the plants
Mm,
safely because they do have defense mechanisms. And like the strawberry is bright red with all the seeds, they want you to eat it. So you go and deposit their seeds somewhere else to propagate that plant. But then others do not want to be
yeah.
eaten. And they
Yeah.
have, so it's fascinating. That's fascinating to me.
Right?
Um, yeah.
It is fascinating, Dr. Rose. And if you know, do you know Dr. Gundry?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. And I studied a bunch of stuff with him. The lectins is what the lectins is a huge defense of the plant in their seeds, in
Yep.
their world that they stop things from from bacteria, from bugs, whatever it is they come, those lectins are there but they destroy the gut.
They
Mm.
do. I mean, some people can get away with them. I never had problems with plants, but others are really debilitated by them, and we never made the connection before. And they
Hmm.
just kept trying to eat, in their case, the plant diet was hurting them more than it was helping, I guess, in some
Yeah,
situations. But yeah. I don't think anybody really understands the microbiome fully. I think I heard somebody say we're going to need AI to unravel that mystery, but I know it's extremely important.
yeah,
Um, like you were saying to mental health, and I do believe that. I think they're getting close to making that link has been kind of established,
yeah.
uh, the gut and the brain.
I hope so. And you know what people don't realize in the world of, well, I grew up with a Buddhist mother, but in that world, like, if you think about it, the first brain was the gut.
Hmm.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is where we were made, right?
right.
That's where the intelligence to expand the rest of the body, right? So the gut, the heart, the brain, three brains, and to me it's fascinating to see about all because I like to study all of it. I don't go, oh wow, the meat eaters are doing it wrong. I think everybody has their own system, and a big, big, big part to me is believing in the physician and the bedside manners and
Mhm.
trusting somebody that a lot of time, just that belief and that trust. Because if you think about it, a mother is not a doctor,
Right.
but it makes you feel good.
Hmm.
She steps in when you're sick and you completely trust that she knows something, and now we're finding with the sensory work and all that, that padding is very like the havening from Dr. Ronald Rudin, that this caressing and this all that, he does a gigantic work in your brain and how to reset the nervous system. And I'm very happy that the neuroplasticity and all these different discoveries that, at the end of the day, we got to take responsibility.
Hmm. Well, it's funny. When I would go to John Barnes, the rebounding, myofascial, I didn't really get much into the rebounding, but I mean, just to watch these. individual work on people in the audience. Everybody, well, before I went to the first conference, one of my colleagues went, they said, "Oh my God, people are just taking off their clothes and going up on stage." You know, you had like a bathing suit bottom and top on, but they just wanted to be treated by John Barnes and or one of his uh, people that worked with him. But he did a rebounding and it's just rocking the person and get finding a rhythm that really kind of lets, in his case, the fascia, but also the nervous system kind of get into balance. And when there, his theory in myofascial release, when there's an injury,
Mm-hmm.
and that fascia is really three-dimensional and there's fluid in it, it gets stuck. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you release it, there was a lot of emotional
Right.
release along with it.
Yep.
Very, very dramatic release,
Yep.
I would say, in a lot of cases,
Yep.
depending on what the injury was. You
Mm-hmm.
know, some of it was emotional, some of it was physical, you know, a lot of different types of uh, injury. And then too, there was a chiropractor. Now, notoriously, PTs and chiropractors are there's a turf war there sometimes for since I've been out. But I did go to one, and she did. I think there was a little craniosacral stuff that she did, but honest to God, she could pinpoint. She would feel my head
Right.
and tell me, "You hit your head right here."
Yep.
And I'm like, and she goes, that was about 13 months ago. She
Mm-hmm.
goes, what did you do? I said, I was ice skating and my feet went up like Charlie Brown and I hit my head on the ice.
Yep.
Yep.
I
And
always traced it. And I remember John always said to us, he said, you know, the pain may be here, but it
mhm,
might have come from you hitting your left knee and going, ah, and
yep.
you, and he said the memory said here. So he said, always, always, always trace it and listen to the body, what it tells. People would, you know, I will say, oh, this and that. And they go, how do you know that? I say, I don't. Your body just told me.
Mm.
Yeah.
What happened
And you
when you
can
were a
feel the
child?
release. Mhm.
Everything. It's like, what happened when you were 5? Or what happened when you were 10? Or it's like, oh, your body's telling me that. And it's mind blowing the stories that you get. And people will come back and say, you know, I'm the one that had that story. Remember? I'm like, no, I don't keep file. That's yours. I
Yeah,
don't. I got my own.
that's funny. Yeah, but it is, and it just tells us that in some ways we need to be more in tune with
Yeah,
our bodies and listen to them because they are telling you a story.
exactly.
They
Yeah.
are giving us clues and we accepted for too long, for too many years, that that's just part of aging.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing with me, because it's funny you said that, because I'm actually 78.
Are
Okay.
you? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Look at
right.
your hair for 78. It's
I
awesome.
know, right?
No,
Yours too.
and the other day somebody called and sent me a message. This is funny, and I'm still on it, Corey.
Still
She
on it.
said, "Oh, I want to know why you doing because you have no, for your age, you don't have any wrinkles." I thought that was so off. I'm like, why do you know I have to?
Hmm.
It's
Good
kind of
answer.
it's a programming,
Hmm.
you
It
know? And
is.
78, I have no connection to linear, and she can tell you because she's got to keep track of the times and the dates. And she's my left brain, my right brain, because I don't, I'm in the moment always.
Well, you're perfect then for each other. I mean, you complement each other. Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah, you both look great for and healthy and vibrant. That's amazing.
That's the
And
main thing to me.
Yeah.
I don't care about all that. I'm not a Kardashian, and I grew up we never saw a mirror. I was 14 years old, never wore shoes. I didn't know. It was no stores, no money. So for me, the reality is that the programming is so different. And I never heard people, that really gets to me when it's like, oh, my little dog passed away. How old was she? You know what? Babies die. I lost
Mhm.
three babies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's not about that chronological thing, it's about what you said. You can turn off the clock. If you are conscious of you, mindful, you know what needs to happen. You can control you know your levels, you know what you feel like, you know what needs to happen, and it just didn't happen. And a lot of classes like I saw with Tony Robbins that I work with and with
Oh,
Chopra
wow.
and all, they will keep coming back, but they were the same. 20,
Mhm.
30 grants later, 5, 7 grand later, they did the other event and another event. And kind of I went like, because it was the same. People think it becomes an entertainment more than taking charge
Right,
like you did.
Yeah. Can
right.
I ask as well? I want to make sure that everybody knows this. Dr. Rose, what was it that you fell upon? A little bit like how did you make so many changes? What happened?
Well, it was right around this time of year. How cliche is that? At starting the new year, my brother was up visiting, and I just felt so lousy. I was like in my mid 40s, and I'm like, nothing. I mean, if they gave me, I want you to work out 5, 7 days a week. I want you to do this. I did it. And I'd lose 5 pounds and get
Mm,
nowhere. And I was watching YouTube and I saw him at a conference, Thomas DeLauer. I don't know if you ever saw him. And I went up to him. I said, it's because of you. And I wanted him to know how powerful it was when he spoke to me that day. And, um, when I started listening to him, I'm like, this makes sense. You know, we, I ate oatmeal every day. That was my breakfast. And with skim milk, I didn't have fat. And it was not working for me. And so I did a 180 and it was pretty dramatic. The amount of fluid that the bloating, the inflammation. I had plantar fasciitis, I had eczema, I had high blood pressure, I had high cholesterol with it even before keto. And it just, I said, and I saw what happened during COVID too. The people who had metabolic disease had worse outcomes. And what was sad is that they really didn't talk about that much at
Yeah.
the time.
Hmm.
And so I felt good. I felt like I was finally coming in tune with my body, and I felt better. I did better. I was able to think better. I had
mm,
more energy. I had a lot of energy at first that you almost don't know what to do with it. I was metabolically unwell. It took me about 6 weeks to even produce a ketone. Um, and when I did, I could have like stayed up all night for beginning for 24 hours. And I'm a big sleeper anyway, but I just had so much energy. And, I would say to people, in the beginning, you miss what you had. And so you'll make keto treats and things like that. And I still did well. There were the people who did dirty keto and still have results. But for long-term change, I will be honest with you, my blood pressure reduced and I would almost get off the medication and then I'd have to go back on in 7 days it came up. It wasn't until I went carnivore that the final little bit of inflammation went. And I didn't want carnivore to be better. I
Mm.
didn't want to feel better on
Yeah.
carnivore. I didn't want to because I was very happy at keto. Now over the holiday I was more keto. I don't want to be dogmatic. I think you need to honor traditions,
Mm.
and Christmas is once a year. You make something, somebody makes something special that day, you have it. But honestly, I thought I was going to really miss plants, and if I'm honest, I did not.
Mhm.
Sometimes I do, but and then
Yeah.
I might have something, but that's where I was optimized. And I have a very arthritic ankle. I was born with a club foot, and so I was very played a lot of sports, and that ankle took a beating over the years. And then always trying to lose weight, I punished myself through exercise instead of just moving my body. It had to be 5 days a week. It had to be hard. It had to be this.
Yeah.
I All I do right now is two full body weightlifting um, sessions a week, and then I do sprints because of my ankle. I do it on the rower. I'll do them 5 sets for 1 minute, all out,
Yeah.
and then I'm active in my garden and walking around, just being active. But I was punishing my body before, and up until last January, I didn't go carnivore until May. I got the treadmill out because I had plateaued on keto, and my ankle was getting really swollen. I was injuring it again.
Mm.
Yeah.
I thought that I had to do that every day and overdo it, and my body was overstressed. So I had seen the podiatrist and gotten a special brace, and I don't even need it now.
Yeah.
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 So your body, and I guess the message, your body tells you things.
It
You
does.
just have to listen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And take responsibility
Yeah, that's it, right?
because we
Mhm.
have to. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody's going to come and do the perfect keto diet for us. We got to sort it out. We got to go for it. We got to do it. And
And what do
it
you have to lose? Really?
yeah,
What
yeah,
I'm like somebody, oh, I don't want to do cardio. Well, just try it.
yeah,
You don't have to do it. This isn't if you don't want to do try keto. There you could do Mediterranean
yeah,
diet keto. You
right.
can, you can use olive oil. I don't use beef tallow. I don't like beef tallow, right?
Yeah,
So I use a lot of olive oil. Even if
yeah,
that makes me not carnivore, then I'm not a carnivore. Then I don't care what you call me. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
But I think olive oil is good for you. You can do
Yeah,
more fish. You can
yeah,
do,
yeah.
yeah, you can.
I
What
love
makes you,
coconut oil.
and coconut oil, yes. That's what,
Fractionated, yeah, or coconut oil. I make a lot of things with it.
yeah,
Mm,
and they're special because they have the MCTs in there.
right.
And that's so good. They automatically go to your liver and you're producing ketones.
Yeah,
Ketones, and another thing I'd like to say to everyone, if you can get into ketosis, Um, and you could do that by like I try to stop eating around 5 o'clock at night, and
Mm.
then I'm not eating till 7 or 8 the next day.
Mm.
yeah,
Whatever your schedule is, but
yeah,
I give my gut and my body a rest. And
right,
in that meantime,
right,
I'm also producing ketones in the middle of the night
yeah,
because my body's repairing itself then.
right.
Mm.
Yeah,
And for uh, for everyone else too, if we all hear of Alzheimer's, right? And type 3 diabetes is the nickname for it now. That's what they're finding to be a major cause. And the brain loves ketones. It's an alternative fuel source.
yeah,
So, and it's clean burning. You don't get oxidate any kind of oxidation to your other organs or parts. So it's very clean burning. And there was one gentleman, oh my gosh, if you I forget his name, but he runs nursing homes or personal care homes in Arizona, I think. And he brought in people to put dietitians who specialize in the ketogenic diet for the residents. And they interviewed this one woman who went home and then did no longer needed to stay. Oh
Oh,
my gosh, I was so moved by that just
yeah.
by changing what she ate
Yep.
and how many people improve mentally.
Yeah.
Um, if you catch it, soon
Yeah.
enough. So
I am
Buddhist medicine,
so grateful for you. So you're so sweet and kind because you're not on top of you're just sharing with love, with kindness, and it's such a easy way for people to listen and not to feel threatened or not to feel that they're not there or that they're missing or that comparison. Your way of being is lovely, and she
thank
has
you.
a book that we're gonna put too in the description. And I'm super grateful, Dr. Rose, for all your, yeah. How do you test these things? Because the tests are so in one line, right? They're like, they put it and you become a number, right? How do you do this specific, so tuned in test to seed levels? Because for most part, they take your blood, they put it in, send it in a thing, and you're just a number in between or
You're an
above.
algorithm. Don't call, you want to see me get mad at the doctor's office? Well, the algorithm says, I'll say I'm not an algorithm.
Right.
And with my lipidologist, God love him, I know I hurt him when he walked in the door. Why don't we just substitute oatmeal for a couple days instead of the eggs? And I'm like, I was 250 pounds when I ate oatmeal every day. I say it to him all the time. But um you have to the questions, you have to you have to learn and educate yourself about the numbers on your blood test. You have to open up that app from the hospital and look at it. And if you have a question about it, you can almost find everything on, I would say, on YouTube. There's a lot of different people out there, but you have to pay attention to it and don't take anything at face value anymore because, I reluctantly, the lipidologist, I said, I'm not taking a statin. He goes, well, you have a very high LPA. I said, I know, but I'm not going to take it because my triglycerides are low, my HDLs are high. And I had you can get you can get a coronary calcium score, which is just a CAT scan. It shows plaque in your heart. Or you can get a coronary artery angiogram, which I hired Dr. Agustin for a year. He was the South Beach doctor who created the Agustin score for the calcium score, and he's more retired, and just takes clients now personally. And I did it for a year, and he did these tests for me, and I have I have zero hard plaque, but on that angiogram, you could see the CAT scan with the dye. You can see I have no soft plaque. And he said, Rose, you're never going to die of a heart attack. You're almost 60. But I do have a little bit of plaque here.
Mm,
And so that's why we agreed. But it was a great conversation. He said, I'm going to try the Zetia. He said, but that's your risk. And we're managing risk. So you
mm,
can think about things that way. And he said, if the Zetia doesn't work, then we'll have another conversation. But it worked.
mm.
And so that's what's missing in our healthcare system today. So you can get these more advanced tests. So with my lipidologist now that I can't afford Dr. Agustin every year, but had him for a year. And he did send me for the dated carotids, Doppler and test ultrasound. And at the end of the day, he agreed the risk of giving you a statin is for reducing an event, a stroke by 80 is only 6%.
Yeah.
So I agree you shouldn't take it.
Yeah.
But it's fighting tooth and nail and coming in with the knowledge to do that to finally and unfortunately we live in a real litigious society,
Yeah.
but I think he felt comfortable at that point with
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
testing that we did that it was okay to say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Well,
admire him for doing
Jackie,
that. What's
Thank you
that?
so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Rose. I am so grateful for you, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And any
I love your
researches that I find, I will send them your way, and we all collaborate and
yeah,
assist each other and make a difference.
I love your background. I mean, oh, that's so interesting.
My
No, I mean your
plants.
background, your healing and where you
Oh,
all that, but your background is beautiful too. But yeah, what a yeah,
I
we
was
have to
just
go to a
saying,
conference somewhere together.
I
I
know,
am
me
such a
too.
yeah. Let's do it. So dedicated, and my friend Bruce Lipton, which we call him Uncle Bruce, is gonna come in. So I will love it. And I will introduce you to the link that you can actually ask questions for him, because he's the
Okay.
pioneer of stem cells, and he's amazing. He wrote many books, but one of them is The Biology of Belief.
Mm.
Oh, okay. I'll look
Bruce
that up. Let
Lipton,
me
yeah.
write that down.
Yeah, yeah, and he's got millions of videos because
Yeah,
he loves to share.
yeah.
I love you so much.
I
Thank
love
you. And we
you
had the
guys. Thank
best time.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.